Good morning, everybody, and of course, welcome back to the episode of X Talking Ish with your boy X. And unfortunately, no Ish this morning, but it's all good. We're gonna, of course, have a great show today, even though Ish will not be joining us this morning. As always, if you are on Facebook, please make sure you like and share this broadcast. If you are on Facebook page, go ahead and hit the like button. If you are on YouTube, go ahead and hit that red subscribe button, and as well hit that notification bell so you can be notified for shows like this one in the future. Ding! Thank you for that, Ish. And as well, if you are on Twitter, you can check us out on Periscope at X Talking Ish, and as well on my personal page at X underscore Williams 81. I am in the process of retweeting that. Looks like it's taking me a little bit of time to do that. Don't know why, but we are good to go now on the Twitter page at X underscore Williams 81 and as well at X Talking Ish. Alrighty then, with that being said, we're here for the week 7 pregame show. And as well, we are of course going to talk about the upcoming slate. Now, as you guys know, we've had, of course, our international games of the last 3 out of the 4 weeks, and last week was the last game that was played overseas. So we're having actually a lot of teams on bye weeks this week. I want to say a total of 8 teams are on bye weeks. So we actually don't have too many games on tonight or today for Sunday slate, which is actually pretty okay with me because if you are a betting man, that ensures that you make sure that you make your proper bets and not go all too crazy with the amount of plays that are out there. You making more strategic, sound bets. That's what I like to see this upcoming Sunday. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and get right into it. And unfortunately, because like I said, Ish will not be joining us today. I don't have his picks for this morning, but it's all good. I know on Tuesday when we recap all these games, he'll let us know how he felt about these games, and we'll go from there. First game on the Sunday slate, we have the Browns versus the Colts. Just off bat, just by looking at these two games or these two teams, it's not going to be a pretty game. I'm just going to be completely honest, which is going to be one of those ugly, get it out of the mud, ground and pound. Um, Hopefully, you bring your hard hat with you type of game because we know what the Browns are going to do. We know who the Browns are. We know their identity is. They're going to come, of course, into Indy and do what they do. The interesting question with the Colts is, what type of Colts team are we going to get from them? Obviously, Anthony Richardson will be out the rest of the season due to having surgery on his shoulder and ending his rookie season. So now it is Gardner Minshew back at the helm for the Indianapolis Colts. Played well last week, but overall, will Gardner Minshew allow the Colts to be able to see some type of success moving forward? I think because he is who he is as a flash in the pan type of quarterback, one week you'll get some type of greatness that you look at him and you'll say, oh man, he's a franchise quarterback. And then next week you see the reason why he's a backup quarterback. That's the unfortunate thing about Gardner Minshew. There's a lot of ups and downs. There's no consistency. Great guy. I'm not trying to take anything away from him because I know there's plenty of Gardner Minshew fans out there that just love him as a person, but don't like to take away the fact that he does not perform well on the field to match his personality. So just want to run back the stats of what he did last week against the Jaguars, and of course this was a homecoming for him playing in Jacksonville. Last week, he went 33 for 55, 329, a touchdown, and 3 interceptions. Now, again, you get the good and the bad with Gardner Minshew. You're going to get the numbers with 33 completions and 329 yards in the air, but you also have to worry about the risk involved when it comes to throwing 3 interceptions as well. And if Gardner Minshew continues this pace, don't get me wrong, it's exciting. You get some of these offensive plays, but you're not going to win too many games turning the ball over 2 or 3 times a game. Just looking at the style of play with Gardner Minshew um, coming up again with some of these games. The Colts will be lucky to beat the Saints because who knows, Gardner Minshew and Derek Carr kind of one and the same when it comes to being Saints of a quarterback. You got the Panthers coming up after that. You got the Patriots, and that'll be another international game for that one. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with the Colts and them as a team moving forward because um, obviously they hoped to be able to utilize Anthony Richardson and utilize his skill set, but seems like that's going to have to be put on the shelf until next season to figure out how to maximize his talent and hopefully not allow Anthony Richardson to be his own detriment and not getting himself out of bounds, sliding, or just hopefully not getting hit by somebody, having somebody land on top of him because at this moment, for being such a big guy, you're looking pretty fragile in the NFL. Being able to come in 2 games but not finish them. So we'll see how that all plays out. We'll recap the game on Tuesday and go from there. Of course, we have the Bills versus the Patriots. What can we say about this AFC East rivalry when it comes to both of these teams? I would say prior to a couple of years ago, it was pretty back and forth. Obviously, when Tom Brady was at the helm, it was pretty back when it comes to just only being the Patriots winning this matchup majority of times. But since Tom Brady has left and Josh Allen has taken over the helm in Buffalo, the Bills have gotten the Patriots number more than not. But for this game, yes, the Bills are a favorite. Yes, the Bills are a better team. It's pretty easy to, to see that just not just by the numbers, but obviously on tape as well, that the Bills are a better team than the Patriots. I'm not arguing that. Um, I just think this is one of those type of trap games. This is one of those games that the Bills are going to feel as though because of the Patriots are playing as bad as they're playing this season, that they should go in there and just take care of business like the Bills are supposed to and come out with a dub. And any other Sunday, yes, I would agree. But for whatever reason, this Sunday, I just feel like there's going to be a lot of wacky things going on in the NFL. So this pick actually is the start of some of my other picks that I have for the rest of this Sunday slate, to where you probably might say, "Wow, I'm surprised you're going with this team." And I'll be honest with you, I'm surprised I'm going with this team as well too. I just think Belichick, especially with all the hoopla we've been talking about with Belichick maybe getting fired and this, that, and the third because of his lack of performance this season. Well, news report just came out about an hour ago stating that apparently Bill Belichick and the Patriots organization quietly agreed to an extension in the offseason, to where it seems though job security for Belichick, at least for this season, is secure, and it doesn't look like Belichick will be leaving New England anytime soon. So with that being said, wouldn't surprise me at all if Belichick pulls a fast one from his, of course, coaching, um, 72 years of coaching lineage, and pulls something out of his hat to where he's able to beat the Bills today. Look, I'm not guaranteeing a victory, but I am saying if you're somebody who likes to bet, this might be one of those games where you might be able to get a nice little come up from, because I think at the moment from the last time I saw, I think the Patriots are plus 400 to win this game. So again, you put $100 down, you win $400. I mean, that's a nice little come up. Um, we know how the Bills are. We know how the Bills like to fall asleep sometimes. We know how the Bills like to take games for granted and lose games they're not supposed to. So this has the recipe for all of that, to have the Bills find a way to lose a game they're not supposed to. Now, if anything, this game for me will show more about the Bills when it comes to if I can take them seriously going to playoffs, if they come in and destroy the Patriots and not play with their food and do what they need to do as a predator, as a hunter, as a elite team in the AFC. If you want us to take you that seriously, like we do with the Chiefs, of course, and other teams in the AFC, then you need to do what you need to do, Buffalo, and come into New England and take care of business. Other than that, I have the Patriots pulling a fast one and getting the upset for today. All right, let's move on to the Commanders and the Giants. The Commanders come into this game as a 3-point favorite. Now, again, this is another divisional matchup that obviously will determine a lot towards the end of the season with divisional standings. But also for the Giants, even though the season we feel as though probably is over for them, technically, mathematically speaking, they are still in the thick of things. And if they're able to win this game, who knows? Maybe it can help them find a way to get to 6 wins this season because they're not making the playoffs. So I know I drew that up suspenseful like to where I might have something in my hat as well. And I do actually. I do have the Giants winning this game. And it's not because the Giants are just overall better than the Commanders. That's not the case at all. I just look at the Commanders kind of the same way where I look at the Colts. I don't know which team I'm getting on a week-to-week basis. Both teams, again, the Colts and the Commanders are 3-3. I mean, Taylor Heineke, again, 1 week he looked. I'm sorry, not Taylor. Sam Howell, my apologies. Sam Howell, look, 1 week he looks like he could be the franchise guy for the Commanders, and then a week later he looks like we expect the Sam Howell to look. Yes, Eric Bieniemy has changed the offense, made it look that much better, and nothing wrong with that. But I think the main issue is, and I think this is the power struggle I think they're going to have to figure out within Washington is the balance aspect. Sam Howell is not Patrick Mahomes. So I don't know if Eric Bieniemy expects Sam to be able to throw the ball 45 to 50 times a game, just sling it all around the field. For this team, that's not a recipe for success. They have some pretty damn good running backs. They need to utilize, obviously, guys like Brian Robinson Jr. I mean, they have a stable of backs to where they can use it at disposal. But until Eric Bieniemy, I think the offense really have a come to Jesus moment and look at each other and say, "Look, we need to run the ball as well too." I think for right now, that's going to be their detriment. That's going to be the reason why they are not successful as the Commanders, because they really won't look at themselves and say the reason why we are successful is because we run the ball. So who knows? Maybe this is the game where they run the ball 35 times, 35, 40 times this game and have Sam Howell and throw the ball 22 times, which I think, again, is a great recipe for success for this team. But it wouldn't surprise me at all if the Commanders come in this game thinking that they are Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady or whoever it is, and thinking that he can just go in there and throw the ball 50 times a game. And the Giants, I think they found a way to win this game. Again, I think this is another one of those betting lines where you might be able to have a nice little decent come up because you take the money line for the Giants instead of the Commanders. All right, let's go ahead and move on to a very interesting matchup. I love this matchup because it's a two different styles, but the same style at the same time when it comes to who they are, what they want to be. They want to be a bully ball type of teams. They want to run the ball. They want to throw the ball. But we want to throw the ball efficiently. And if anything, the Lions are doing it, I think, a lot better of a pace, and the Ravens are doing it. But that's no shade to Lamar Jackson and the way that he's been performing this season. He has been performing like a franchise quarterback should, and there's nothing that Lamar Jackson has done this season that Ravens organization or Raven fans should look at Lamar and say, "Oh man, I regret giving him this money." Yes, he's had let's just say one decent game against the Steelers, one bad game, one bad decent game, whatever you want to call it, against the Steelers. Other than that, the other 5 games he's performed well. I expect him to do the same again today. Now, granted, the Ravens coming into this game are the favorite, obviously being at home as well too. If you are a betting person, you know the home team gets a 3-point favorite when it comes to hosting a game in general. So that means that the Lions and the Ravens, if this was on a neutral site, would probably be an even line. So it looks like Vegas looks at these two teams pretty well evenly matched. Coming into this game again, the Lions offensively I think offensively they are a better team than the Ravens. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. There's no argument. I don't want to hear anything from Raven Nation thinking that, oh well, look at our receiving core. Receiving core can't even stay on the field right now. Okay, if you look at this Lions offense, the exception of Saint Raha Brown, he's the only person that's really been injured in and out of out of the lineup. The Lions offense is, and also my apologies, Jamar Gibbs is coming off of his injury as well too. Lions offense has been consistent. The offensive line has been probably the best offensive line in NFL. I mean, again, I don't think there's any arguments from there. Maybe the 49ers, again, 1 and 2 from offensive lines. Defense have played really, really well. Again, I think the defense for the Lions have only had like one bad game. So I think for this game, this is a very, very good test for both teams to see how good both teams are. Again, I don't really want to beat a dead horse when it comes to talking about this game. But again, I think this game is going to be could be the game of the week. I think this game really could be the game of the week. Besides maybe Dolphins, Eagles, of course, who we're all waiting on for Sunday Night Football. But for my pick, and again, I know it's going to surprise a lot of people, but I'm actually picking the Ravens to win this game. I think the Ravens are going to find a way to win the game with Lamar Jackson at the end of the game. I think this is going to be one of those performances where whoever has the ball last. I think the Ravens find a way to grind out this game, utilize their running game, eat up the clock, and find a way to get it done at home in the bank. With the Lions, again, nothing is wrong with them as a team. I just think this is one of those games where, for whatever reason, the offense just can't find its rhythm. They're going to be a little just 4-play drive, 4 or 5 play drives here, 3 and outs here. I just don't see the offense getting the type of rhythm that they want to have to be able to come in and win this game as they should. And I think the Ravens take full advantage of that and win this game. Let me get to the comment section right quick. Fresh One says, this is about to be one hard-fought game. I definitely agree. Xavier, my boy Big X, he says, yeah, Lions are definitely better right now from a Ravens fan. And Fresh One says he has the Lions 16-13. And as you can see, when it comes to how this game should play out, I think we're all on the same page when it comes to should be a low-scoring, hard-fought game that whoever wins this game probably might win by 3. I just don't see it being a blowout by either team. I see this coming down to the last couple of possessions and also turnovers. I mean, at the end of the day, right? I mean, that's really what it's going to come down to as well, too, is who's going to turn the ball over. And if that is either a quarterback like Lamar or Jared Goff, that could be the end all be all of who wins this game, or it could be a special teams play, right? We've seen it happen in college yesterday with Iowa, where a special teams play that got nullified cost the game for Iowa. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if some type of kick return, punt return, field goal block might change the whole game for these two teams. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the Raiders and Bears. Now, this game, not a pretty one at all. Two teams that I would say they don't deserve to win, but at this point, I think we just really look at both of these teams in the NFL just like, all right, guys, we'll see y'all next year. Y'all just get ready for next year. Expected a little bit more out of the Bears and Justin Fields. I'm just being completely honest. I was hoping this year would be his bounce back year, the proven year to everybody to show that he's not as bad of a quarterback as everybody says that he is. It's not great. You know, he hasn't been that great. Now, don't get me wrong, there's been a stretch where he's played well. He threw for 8 touchdowns, 1 interception. Is down to 3rd. That's fine. But again, those are stretches. We got to talk about the whole season. At the moment, throughout the season, he is 162, which, again, not too bad. 1,200 yards passing, 11 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Now, first part of the season, if he could clean up these things, maybe the numbers will look even better. But the record itself is just bad. It's 1-5. You are playing at home here against the Raiders, but overall, I just think the Raiders are a better team, which I know that's weird to say when the Raiders play against anybody, but for this circumstance, yes, it is true. Max Crosby has been playing very, very well. Wouldn't surprise me at all if he has a couple of sacks in this game. But the only reason why I'm really even taking the Raiders is because honestly, I have to. I want to take the Bears, but I just can't trust them right now. And also with a lot of their injuries that they have at the moment, I just don't think that they are healthy enough to even try to pull off the upset. Even though Vegas is only a 2.5 point favorite, obviously that means something in the betting world. But for this game, I expect the Raiders to win this game by at least a touchdown, 10 points. Um, it's really, if I'm being honest with you guys, I'm trying to hype this game up, but it's really hard for me too because this is just one of those look like me. Go take the kiddos to a game. These are one of those $6 seats, $6 a ticket type of games, and go enjoy with your kids, and maybe go throw a couple of dollars down that you don't care about when it comes to betting, because this isn't a game that I would really want to hold my feet to the fire with. So we'll go ahead and move on with that one. This game to me, I think, is a little bit more intriguing than the previous game. Now, this is an NFC South matchup, which obviously will determine divisional standings moving forward, especially with how tight a division this is, because we all thought it was going to be the Saints division to lose, and they are definitely losing it right now. And then we thought maybe the Buccaneers might find a way to take this one from everybody, but the Buccaneers don't really care to win the division at the moment. So everything kind of goes back to the Falcons, right? Do the Falcons want this? Do the Falcons find a way to slither on into the playoffs by winning the division? At this moment, it's too early to tell. But I will say for the Falcons, I'll ride with the momentum with Bijan Robertson coming in and finding a way to upset the Buccaneers at home. Buccaneers have played pretty exceptional football the first 4 weeks of the season. Lost last week, of course, to the Lions at home. That was one of those performances where I think we found out a lot more about both teams when it comes to the Lions are really good and the Buccaneers are okay. I think that's what we established with both of those performances. So going into this matchup, you have an okay Buccaneers against an okay Falcons team that finds ways to be good sometimes and find ways to not be good. And it just goes to the inconsistencies, the mediocrity when it comes to this Falcons team, just like I talked about with other teams like the Commanders and like the Patriots as well. So for this game, yes, even though I'm taking the Falcons, I'm still unsure who wants to win the division, and I am not saying that any one of these three teams, the Panthers, they don't count, because we already know the Panthers are getting ready for next season. Falcons, Buccaneers, the Saints, I don't know what they are going to do in the second part of the season to try to win this division, but it's going to be very interesting. I mean, this could be a division where maybe 8 wins win this division. Maybe 9. Maybe again, maybe the Bucks or the Falcons might win them 9 games to win the division. But right now, it just looks really ugly. Let me get to the comment section. Fresh One says NFC South is playing hot potato for who wants to win the crown. I won't even say who wants to win it. I mean, just like Ish and I talk about it for the last 2 years, it might be just who don't want to win it. I mean, by the way that these teams are playing, I mean, do you guys want to go to the playoffs? I mean, I know it might be it's a little incentive to be able to go to the playoffs. So, Buccaneers made the Falcons be like, look, we live in Florida and Georgia. I ain't trying to play no more football. I got the beach to go to. I got strippers to go hang out with. I ain't trying to go play no extra football. Hey, maybe that's some of these guys' mindsets. I don't know. It's interesting, but we'll talk more about it, of course, on Tuesday when we recap that game. Steelers versus Rams. Rams are a 3-point favorite going into this game. And just like I mentioned with the Lions and Ravens, because the Rams are a home team, they get those 3 points. So Vegas kind of looks at both of these teams as the same. And I guess you can kind of do that. I mean, the Steelers are going to this game 3-2. Rams are 3-3. We have some games where the Rams look like I wouldn't say old Rams. I wouldn't say Super Bowl Rams. But I mean, they look good, right? You know, you got the emergence of Puka, of course, and you have Cooper Kupp coming back from injury. But there's been a lot of inconsistency for the Rams, and definitely will be the same said about the Steelers. And, you know, you have some games where, oh, man, you upset the Ravens and you look like you can find a way to maybe win the division, and then all of a sudden you lose games and you just look like maybe we need to make a change at the head coaching helm, you know, losing to teams, obviously, like the 49ers at home. I mean, it's just it is what it is. I mean, it's going to happen. It's the 49ers, right? You lose to, of course, the Texans, and that's one of those games where a lot of Steelers fan base start scratching their heads and trying to figure out, okay, what's going on? We should be playing better. Our offense should be playing better. Why are we losing to teams like the Texans? But you come out of this 5-game slate and you're actually still looking up at 3-2. And again, record could be better. Record could be worse. But overall, it seems as though that everybody's on the same page when it comes to is the offense that might be holding this team back. And one person in particular, the offensive coordinator, Matt Canada. This is another week to see what he has drawn up for the Steelers team, and another week for people to look at Matt Canada all crazy for the type of performance that he puts out on the field. I think the Steelers are a great organization. We'll never take anything away from them, of course. I think the Rams find a way to win this game. I don't know why. I don't know how. But I'm going to take the Rams today in a very close matchup. Again, it is a 3-point spread, and I think for a good reason because Vegas sees it as close as I do. But like I said, for this Sunday, this is just a weird Sunday. Any other time, I probably would pick the Steelers, but I think the Rams find a way to win today at home. Let's go ahead and move on to the Cardinals and Seahawks. Now, as you can see, Seahawks are a heavy favorite going into this game. Have a 9.5-point advantage over the Cardinals. And I'm going to be completely honest with y'all. This is not one of those games. This is not one of those games where I'm about to hype up and make y'all think that I'm about to take the underdog, because I'm not. No. Cardinals are not going to win this game. Now, what they can do is, again, if you're a betting person out there, they can cover the spread. They can find a way to win this game, lose this game by less than 9.5 points. Definitely could see that happening, especially by how hard they play Joshua Dobbs. I mean, he's literally going out there and playing his heart out. I mean, if I'm being honest with you, if you look at Joshua Dobbs, let's just be real. I think Joshua Dobbs knows too that maybe this might be my last time really being able to be a starter in the NFL. And that's nothing wrong with that, because let's be real, a lot of people in the world don't get a chance to be an NFL starting quarterback. But the best thing for Joshua Dobbs is that he is a pretty damn good and smart person when it comes to the engineering field and more precise the aerodynamics and space culture, because once he gets done with the NFL, he'll be somewhere in NASA playing around with rockets. And I think at this point, he just literally just letting it all hang out and going out there and just playing with fun and going out there playing hard, no matter what comes out of it, either if it's an injury, if it's wins, if it's losses, you're going to get the best out of Joshua Dobbs. And I think that is a pretty cool thing to think about. If you are Dobbs, like, look, I ain't got nothing else to lose right now. You know, I've been mostly a backup most of my career. I have an opportunity to play here mainly because of, you know, obviously Kyler Murray's hurt and everything else that going along with the Cardinals. So let me take full advantage. Once I'm done, I can go on and go play with my space stuff, and I could be that guy that gets to tell all my space buddies all the stories of me playing in the NFL back in the day. So I think it's a great story for Joshua Dobbs. Unfortunately, you're not going to get the win today, but great story, and that's what That's what football is all about, baby. It's the storylines that we put together every Sunday to make sure you guys can watch the matchups that nobody else wants to watch. All right, we got Packers and Broncos. Now, I was actually going back and forth with this decision. I really was going to pick the Broncos. I was thinking that maybe the Broncos are going to find a way to take care of business at home, even though Green Bay are a 1 point favorite on the road. I was thinking that maybe Bronco Nation could take care of business. But then I thought, well, I wouldn't mind Bronco Nation taking care of business, but I also like seeing a little controversy. And I do like seeing what maybe could transpire if the Broncos go 1-6. And last week we had a little of a comment that came out from Sean Payton saying that pretty much the quarterback needs to play a little bit better, and which is understandable, right? I mean, anytime you talk about a football team, the first person you probably want to hold accountable is the quarterback, and there's a trickle down effect. Everybody on the team needs to play better, not just the quarterback, right? But after those comments, I wonder what's going to be said if they end up losing again to a Packers team with a young quarterback who's been sitting for a while, of course, behind Aaron Rodgers. And the obviously depending on how they lose this game, what else could transpire out of this? Obviously, again, last week, if you were paying attention with the Jared Judy and Steve Smith stuff, I think that right there could be a reason why Jared Judy is on the trade block soon, rather than later. Trade deadline ends on the 31st of this month. So literally next Monday, the trade deadline will end. Wouldn't surprise me at all. Jared Judy somewhere else. Wouldn't surprise me at all if maybe PS2. We talk about PS2 a lot here on this show. Patrick Surtain Jr. They said that his name's up for trade. Speculation. They pretty much saying anybody that's plays for the Broncos organization. And even though Russell Wilson is in conception right now, his ass might be up for a trade if he keeps playing the way that he's playing. And again, I know the numbers look good. I'm not saying that the numbers are bad. I'm just saying the type of performance that we pay you to play, you're not living up to the way that we pay you. That's the biggest issue. So for right now, I want to see a little bit of controversy. I wish Ish was here because I know how he's wanting to see a little bit of the mayhem happen for Bronco Nation as well too, obviously since he is a Chiefs fan. But I want to just see who else can we let go in Denver before the organization might have to look and say maybe it's Sean Payton, right? Maybe it's a guy that hasn't been a head coach for 10 plus years now that might not be able to corral an NFL locker room like he used to. That's what we might have to get into. Maybe not this season, but next season. We're very interested to see how that all plays out. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the Chargers and Chiefs. I have a sad thing to say right now because I can't understand why my co-host would even say this to me. But I'm sad and I'm appalled. But he called me a Chiefs hater. I just don't understand why he would. He thinks that because I call games objectively and I don't agree with his Chief fandom, that it makes me a Chief hater. And I just don't understand why he would think that, because it's not the case at all. If anything, I respect the Chiefs and I respect Chief Nation, or Chief Kingdom, I should say. I respect everything that they've been able to do. Hell, I even respect Travis Kelce wanting to take advantage of dating sixes. Look, I am not disrespecting any of that. I promise you I'm not. Because I'm actually picking the Chiefs to win this game. I actually am, because I'm not going to be looking like Boo Boo the Fool this game and picking the damn Chargers, and the Chargers do what they're going to do best, which is find a way to lose a game, and especially lose the games to the Chiefs, which majority of the times is their Super Bowl, and it feels as though anytime that they beat them that they won the Super Bowl and not actually, get to a Super Bowl. So I'm going to not be the silly person. I'm going to do what's best for my pocketbook and put my money on the Chiefs at home, 5.5-point favorite. Now, if the Chiefs lose, then hey, guess what? The Chiefs lose. They dust their shoulders off. They move on. I don't think they worry about this game too much. That's just me. I look at them kind of like the Houston Astros when it comes to championship pedigree. Regular season really don't mean too much for teams like the Chiefs because once you get in the playoffs, that's really what matters. For the Chargers, this game means so much more to them as an organization than the Chiefs. Um, I'm on the bandwagon. I'm on the train when it comes to firing Brandon Staley. Look, I don't call for people's jobs, but when it comes to ruining a Hall of Fame talent like Justin Herbert, we're going to need somebody else to get in there to train up Mr. Justin Herbert to get all of the potential that we possibly can from him. So again, I'm not going to look like Boo Boo the Fool. I promise you, I'm not. So I'm going to pick the Chiefs. I'm going to make sure that when Ish is on this show on Tuesday, when we recap the show, that I rub it all in his face, that I make sure that I picked his team. Because if the Chiefs don't win this game, then guess who can rub it all back in his face? So again, it's not who lasts first. It's about who last first, last. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch my wife and kids. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Shout out to my boy Valentine. He says, F the Chiefs. I don't know what that F means, but I'm pretty sure it's not family friendly. So I'm gonna say F the Chiefs. He also says no one, really, no one was Chiefs fans until Mahomes. Oh man, what big bold words my boy Valentine has out here for this show. He's speaking with some hot fire over there. Oh man, you about to bring Chief Nation out here and get on my show, Valentine. Don't be you know they like the Swifties and whatnot. They come out here and they'll spam my damn account and they'll do whatever it needs to do to get my show off of this platform because you over here talking down on the Chiefs kingdom there, Valentine. But again, I'm gonna play nice. I'm gonna make sure that everybody knows that I'm a Swifty for today. I'm a Chiefs fan for today. You know, we're gonna sing all the lyrics to the Chiefs and I'm sorry, not the Chiefs songs, but to Taylor Swift songs for today. And I already know that we're gonna see Taylor there at the game, most likely. Now, I will say that if Taylor don't go to this game, then we gotta look at this point. Taylor Swift really must like Travis Kelce because she's going to the Jets games. She's going to all of the worst matchups that the Chiefs possibly can match up with, but she don't go to the good ones. That's how you know she really about you. I'm gonna tell you a story about my wife. Not right now, but I'm gonna tell you about it later. At the end of the day, that's how I knew she was the one. She probably listening to this show right now, just smiling and giggling, but her ass went out here and drove all the way from Texas to Georgia to come see my ass play football. And after that, I just knew, you know what? Maybe I need to go ahead and put a ring on it. But anywho, Valentine also says, I'm still salty about last year's Super Bowl. I mean, you know, it is what it is. At least you got there, right? At least you ain't got to bring up 20 plus year old memories like myself as a Titans fan about being 1 yard short. So cheers to you, Valentine. Cheers to you. All right, Dolphins, Eagles. And speaking of Valentine's team that lost last season in the Super Bowl, maybe they have an opportunity to get back to the Super Bowl, which I think they do. I picked them to get back to the Super Bowl this year. They have a speedy matchup heading into this Sunday night in front of them with the Miami Dolphins coming to Philadelphia. Now, of course, if you're a Phillies fan at the moment, I mean, you are, of course, enjoying your weekend, enjoying your teams perform the way they've been performing with the Phillies. Of course, Eagles have been playing well. The Flyers, of course, starting things back up. And then, of course, you have preseason NBA with the Sixers. So I know Philly is rocking and rolling over there. If you're here in Houston, of course, Houston, that sports feeling is kind of coming back. Of course, obviously the Astros are 1 win away from the World Series. Then you also have the Texans are playing a lot better football than they had been before. And the Rockets, you know, they're doing something. They're finding a way, you know, trying to get rid of the I want to say the fat. I would say some of the people that don't need to be there for certain reasons. I'm not gonna bring up things that don't need to be brought up on this show, but y'all know what I mean if y'all are in Houston. But anywho, with the Eagles and the Dolphins in this upcoming matchup, styles of play are kind of the same but different. The Eagles actually like to run the ball in comparison to the Dolphins, even though I will say the Dolphins have run the ball a lot more efficiently this season than they ever had before with as a Mike McDaniel team. I think that helps out tremendously for what they're going to be trying to do towards the end of the season. Let's just be honest, the Eagles just run the ball that much better. So with that being said, this is going to be a really interesting matchup for Jalen Hurts to see how he bounced back from a terrible performance from last week and throwing 3 interceptions. That's not a normal game for Jalen Hurts. Saw a lot of Cowboy fans that was quick to discuss, well, why don't everybody get on Jalen Hurts for all the interceptions that he's thrown this season so far, which is understandable. Why don't people get on Jalen Hurts for the amount of interceptions he threw last game? Why does Jalen Hurts look like he might be regressing? I've seen a lot of these things, and if I'm being honest with you, about 80% of it is hate. I'm just being honest with you. 80% of it is hate. Now, 20%, I will agree, there are not cause of concern, but there are a little bit of, okay, what's going on here and there? And what I mean by that, just offensively, it's either one or two things. It's either forcing the ball a little too much to A.J. Brown, or there are times where sometimes, from what I'm seeing, Jalen Hurts, he's panicking a little bit more than he has in the past. And because he has so much confidence and faith in his receivers, all his receivers, he just says, hey, F it. I'm just going to throw it up there. Somebody will come down with it. And last year, those situations were catches and even turned into touchdowns. This season, they're turning into interceptions, to where they might obviously look a certain way on your stats, but record-wise, I mean, you're still winning. Obviously, you're 5-1 at this moment, and I mean, any team would take their quarterback throwing 7 interceptions as long as they're 5-1 at the moment, right? I mean, I could be wrong. I could be the idiot that feels that way, but I'm just being honest. If Dak was throwing 7 interceptions and the Cowboys were 5-1, I'm pretty sure Cowboy fans would say the exact same thing, right? It's not about the interceptions; it's about the wins and losses at that point. And that's one thing that I state all the time when it comes to not just interceptions, but just stats in general. I don't care if you have 35.5 sacks in the regular season. You can't get a sack in the postseason to help out your team. It doesn't mean shit. If you got 37 interceptions in the season and you go out on a postseason tear and you throw for 12 touchdowns and no interceptions, and your pass rating is 156.8, perfect pass rating, you lead your team to Super Bowl, those regular season interceptions don't mean anything. Again, I'm not saying the regular season don't mean anything, but for certain teams, especially a team like both of these teams right here, for the Eagles and the Dolphins, some of these matchups in the regular seasons are tune-up matches to get you ready for postseason play. That's how you have to view some of these games. And if you are a championship organization like the Eagles, because they have not just been to Super Bowl, they have also won one, you have to look at some of these matchups as championship matchups and not get too riled up in a win or a loss or the stats or this, that, and the third. You have to utilize some of these bigger games in the regular season to prepare you for the big games in the postseason. So when you have a lot of these people, mainly fans that are passionate about, sticking up for either their player or their team, you have to understand that some of these people are upset with the way that the media has portrayed certain players or teams. Like, that's just, it is what it is. And I understand that. I'm not mad at you as a fan for trying to take up for your people. But overall, we got to understand too, what we see with our eyes is what we see, right? We've seen what the Chiefs have been able to do for the last 5 years, right? We've seen the letdown the Chargers have had for the last however many years, right? We've seen how good of a offensive weapon the brotherly shove is, right? We can't keep acting like the things that we see are not true when they are. And we have to talk about the things that we see. And that's why I am picking the Eagles to win this game, because overall, as a team, especially getting back the injured personnel that they haven't had in a couple of games now, especially Lane Johnson. Lane Johnson is the main factor of why the Eagles probably, not I want to say win this game, I want to say win this game, but the reason why they will be a success moving forward is because that offensive line. If Lane Johnson's there, if Jason Kelsey is there, if those guys are there to be able to work as one, the Eagles win games majority of times than not. If Lane Johnson's out of the lineup, you look at their record, it's a losing record, obviously, but it is a big discrepancy from Lane Johnson being a starter, Lane Johnson not being in the game. That's why I have the Eagles winning this game. I wish my boy Ish was here to let me know who he would pick, because I think he would pick the Eagles too. I'm not for sure. Maybe he might switch it up and pick the Dolphins. Not for sure. But again, we'll talk about all this on the Tuesday recap show. Also too with Philly, it's just something special that goes on around this time when with October, November. Like I said, all the teams are playing in the postseason. Everybody supporting one another. It just gives Philly just that little bit more extra juice. Again, that's why I just see Philly taking care of the Dolphins here. Now, what I would love to see, though, I wish this was a game that was probably in the end of November, December. I would love to see Miami go up to Philadelphia in the elements to see how they could perform there, because obviously, again, them playing against teams like Buffalo and New England, we will see them go back up to the Northeast and play a colder game. But that's something that Miami is going to have to, of course, figure out. Are we going to win a division? Are we going to have a higher seed in the AFC so everybody can play their way through Miami? Or are we going to have to go through, Kansas City once again? Coach T says if we could start clicking, we could beat the Dolphins. Eagles must have Lane in the lineup. As you can see, Coach T knows what he's talking about, because Coach T knows his team just like I know a little bit about this Philadelphia Eagles team as well, too. All right. With that being said, as always, we appreciate y'all for tuning in to X Talking Ish. This is the pregame show. As always, we'll see y'all on Tuesday to recap Week 7 football. Not too many games on today, of course. A lot of teams are on bye weeks, but that's okay. That just means with that being not as many games, that means hopefully we should have a better quality of games. I'm hoping maybe, but we'll see how this all plays out. With that being said, we'll see y'all on Tuesday. Thank y'all as always tuning in to X Talking Ish. Thank you.